Hi, and welcome to East to West WLS, the podcast where we support the bariatric community with humor, humility, and honesty. I'm April, and I'm the West.
And I'm Jason, and I'm the East.
Today, we are beyond excited to welcome one of the most effervescent and influential person in our community, Katie. Hello, Katie.
Hi, so good to be here.
Oh my gosh, we are so excited to talk with you. We recently connected, and of course, we all follow your journey. So we all know that you have been on the weight loss surgery kind of wagon for quite some time, and you are like a few days away from your procedure.
Yes, yep, Tuesday, and we're recording this on what, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah,
What's
Sunday.
today?
Yes.
Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God, I don't even know what day.
No, well, you've been deep into the liquid diet, so we know why it's a little.
Yeah,
you
my
feel
brain's
a little scattered. Yes. Oh, well, when we reached out to you, I had this idea to record with you before and after your procedure. And like, this might be a shocker to everybody, but this will actually be the first episode we've ever edited. And we are so excited to get to know you before your surgery and after your surgery. We're just very curious. We're very excited to see how things have shifted for you, before and after. So we very much appreciate you taking the time to talk with us when I know things are not easy for you right now. So just first and foremost, thank you very much for doing that.
Yes, of course. I'm honored. Honestly, you guys like hype me up so much.
I mean, it's not hard to do. I mean, you really kind of hype yourself. We just like share your shit and it's amazing. So oh, goodness. Okay. So before we dive into kind of our conversation, I just want to let our listeners know that if a podcast is not your jam, if it's not your favorite way of listening, we do record this in Zoom. And as you can see, we are adorable humans. So if you would like to watch this video on YouTube, head over to YouTube, search East, the number 2 West _ WLS, and our amazing YouTube channel will pop up, and you can watch us that way. So of course, like, share, and subscribe, because we are endeavoring to grow this community so that we can support people in all of the ways that they want to do so. And just a little bit of background on Jason and I. He and I met at a virtual bariatric meetup that I was hosting about 9 months ago. And we were both very disappointed in the support that we received after our bariatric procedures, right? Like our surgery, the doctors and nurses were great, phenomenal. But then we were kind of like, okay, good luck, after we had like paid our bills. And Jason and I discovered that the conversations that he and I were having just as personal friends were really impactful, and they made a lot of difference in our own personal lives. So we decided to start East to West WLS because we just didn't find that support. So we're so excited that we get to create the support and the content that we wish was there, before and after our surgeries. But the only reason we're able to do this is because of the support of people like you who are listening and following and watching, and because of people like Katie who want to come on to the show and share their stories with us. So it takes a village, and we are so proud and happy that we get to be kind of a part of this village. So, okay, so there's a quick little thing about us, about what we do at East to West, but now really on to the main event. Katie, like I said, is one of the most active and influential people within kind of the weight loss surgery community on Instagram. You can follow her at katie.vsg. But I'd like to just kind of open up the floor a little bit to you, Katie. Will you tell us just a little bit about yourself, maybe your age, where you live, when you're going to be having VSG, and maybe why you're so passionate about supporting the weight loss surgery community?
Yeah, so it just like kind of makes me giggle every time you say one of the most influential people, because like it's so funny that that's who I've become in this community. Like, I didn't really set out to do that, but I did want to be a resource for people, because when I started this whole journey, I was just like on Instagram on my normal page. Like I didn't even have a VSG page at this point. And I was just like digging for information. I wanted to know the real. I wanted to know like what life is like after surgery. And so finding people that were willing to share their journeys, like that just like spoke to me. And I'm like, you know what? If I do this, like that's what I want to be. I want to be open. I want to be honest. I want to be as raw and as real as possible, because I just want to be a resource for people. I want to, encourage people if they need it. So that's kind of why I kind of created the community that I have. I'm 28. I live in Indiana. I am a hairstylist professionally, and, I've been in the hair industry for about 8 years. And I think the stress of the career choice that I made, it's very hard to build your career starting out as a hairstylist. And I feel like I've finally found the right place where I'm supposed to be. But I've just gained a lot of weight and it has made the job miserable. I mean, I love what I do, but I am just in pain all the time. I'm sweating all the time. Like, I'm miserable. And you'd think being on your feet all day would, like, you know, help your stamina and like help you lose weight, but
Yeah.
it's just not like that. It just does not work like that. And
No.
so that's kind of why I started looking into this, because I've just struggled for years. And I think I'll kind of get into more of this later, but you know, I had a sick mom growing up. And so I think, you know, as her health declined, you know, my weight just shot up. And so I really think those two are kind of correlated as well. And so I read something that, you know, once your stomach stretches, it's a muscle. I mean, you can't, it doesn't just go back. You know, like once you get to a certain point, it's like, it is so hard to do it without surgery, you know, without actually making your stomach smaller surgically, and to be able to keep that weight off. So that's kind of where I'm like, you know what? I want a better future. I want a better life. So here I am.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this conversation. And what you said, just about like, you know, yeah, there is so much false information around weight, human weight, and how people gain weight. Jason and I's favorite saying is actually one that I picked up Weight Watchers years ago. And that is that fitness happens at the gym. Weight loss happens in the kitchen. Yes. So, you know, my husband is a superintendent for a high steel iron company. That man is lifting thousands of pounds a day. He's walking, you know, a marathon. He's the most active individual I know, and he is overweight. So the fact that he's very fit and muscular is wonderful. That means he's got strong bones and he can pick me up and right, like, oh, okay, great. But he's still obese. And it's because of what he eats. And the only thing that really impacts our weight is what we eat. So to hear you live that experience and know that that is truthful is, beyond positive. So, oh my gosh. Okay, you guys. Oh, okay. Are you ready to dive in? Because I'm just like, and I got all these questions.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you kind of told us a little bit about your personal experience and how you ended up really today, right here on the threshold of having VSG. So maybe tell us a little bit more about your journey, about how, you know, how the weight came on, how it evolved. Really, how did you find yourself with us here today?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, you know, I had a sick mom growing up. She was diagnosed with lupus. I think I was 12 when she was diagnosed. So I was pretty young. And, you know, we kind of managed as a family through that. But as her health declined, you know, I got older, and it's funny. I just started going to therapy, and a lot of this has come to light recently. Like, I didn't really even comprehend all of this until recently. So this is all kind of new to me as well. But, you know, when you have a sick family member, like, the attention pretty much revolves around them. And, you know, that's just part of it. It's, you know, I'm not saying my parents were not good parents. I love my parents. Like, my dad, he's a pastor, and he's just the most compassionate, selfless man I've ever known. And so he just spent all of his energy taking care of my mom. And, you know, over the last few years, where I've really noticed a lot of weight gain, you know, is where her health just really took a toll for the worse. I mean, she was in the hospital with meningitis, like 3 months before my wedding, and when they like really thought she was going to die. So like, I packed on, like, it was so scary, because I bought my dress in February of that year, and I packed on probably 40 pounds before I got married. And it was devastating. You know, obviously all you want to do as a bride is just look fit and pretty for your wedding. And I mean, the stress of trying to plan my wedding while my mom's like dying in the hospital, you know, it's just like a nightmare. So luckily my dress still fit. I don't know how, but it did.
Oh, that's a miracle.
I know. Literally, I'm so, thank God. But anyways, so that, you know, when she had the meningitis, like, that was kind of a turning point for her. I think like things just really started to go downhill from there. And, you know, I know that like my chances of getting lupus aren't necessarily affected by my weight. I know that small people can get lupus as well. Like, but I also know that being overweight and being obese increases your chances of any disease, you know, in any matter. And I'm so scared of having any sort of hiring my chances of having any sort of disease like that. Like, that's on me, you know, like I can do something about this, but I'm not. And I can use that excuse of, you know, stress from a sick parent for so long. And then I can look back at my life and say, why did I choose to live my life this way? You know? And so I apologize if I get emotional because it's all very recent. So, I started the journey. Both my parents went with me to my first like consult appointment. And so I had them both there, and we were able to talk to some of the nurses there about the procedure, things like that. So it was really nice to have their support. My husband couldn't go, he had to work, but he's also very supportive. I don't want to leave him out. But about halfway through my 6 months, my 6-month program, my mom ended up passing. And so obviously, I'm in this program where I'm like preparing for weight loss surgery and trying to figure out the mental aspect of it and trying to watch what I'm eating and create good habits. And then, dealing with the death of my mom. I mean, grief is so heavy, and it's still hard, to navigate that, but I don't know how I did it. Truthfully, I think it was God giving me strength, because like I literally don't know how I made it through that, and I'm where I am today. So I think that has probably been one of the hardest battles to get through all of that. But I definitely think, I don't know, I've learned a lot in her death. I've learned that you only live once. I've learned that life is too short to care what anybody thinks. And that's like the ultimate reason why I decided to just put it all out there and not really give a shit if anybody, is offended or is grossed out or whatever. Like, this is my journey. This is for me to document, and I'm welcoming you with open arms into this journey of mine. And if you're going to have negative opinions and thoughts about it, like, that's on you. That's not on me, And so I kind of came to this place where, who cares? Like, who cares what people think anymore? I mean, of course, like the comments and things like that from internet trolls, like that's gonna hurt. It is what it is. But honestly, like, that's on them. Like, hurt people, like I've just never forgotten that quote. I don't know where I heard it, but that sticks with me forever. And so that's just so much easier to like handle the negativity, like, knowing that like that's not on me, that's on them, So that's kind of where I am. I had a lot of insurance battles. I'm not sure what your questions are lining up to here, if you want me to get into that now or if that's a later question, but I can talk about that.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my mom died in end of April, and I finished my 6-month program in July. So that's kind of the timeline of where we're at. I had done well. I was required to lose 2.5% of my current body weight for them to submit to insurance. So I had accomplished that. It was great. Things were smooth sailing. And then I got denied by insurance. So that was kind of like, that was the first blow, because I was like, okay, what? This doesn't make any sense. So they said that there was an exclusion in my plan. And I was like, but wait a second, like, you approved me to be a part of this program. This is a pre-op program. It's pre-operative. How are you going to approve the pre and deny the op? Like, that makes no sense.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. So it made no sense. So I appealed it. And then when that got denied, I was like, okay, something is not right. So I called my insurance company and I asked to speak to just a supervisor. I was like, I need a member services supervisor. And so they were like, okay, they're probably going to tell you the same thing, but I'll go ahead and get them. I said, please get them. Thank you, And so faith is a big part of my life. So I'm always just like, God, you're just like putting people in the right places. So I ended up getting, by the luck of the draw, this woman. Her name is Taz, is what she goes by. And she is such a pivotal part of like this journey for me, because like she fought so hard for me on her end of things, and like that's not her job. Her job is to console me and answer questions, And so to have somebody on the inside like being like, no, like this is not okay, like, blah blah blah. So essentially she's on the inside talking to her higher ups, figuring out what went wrong, and then I talked to my clinic and I said, okay, they're not approving me because of an exclusion, but why would they have put me through the plan? Like, I thought you guys got approval before I even started this. And they said, we did. We had a conversation with them. I can give you the name of the person I talked to and the reference number of the phone call where we specifically asked them questions. It wasn't just a general verification of benefits. It was, is there an exclusion on your plan? Yes or no? They said no. They said everything is covered. And I said, okay, this is what I'm fighting for at this point, because I was incorrectly informed and that's not okay. And so they ended up pulling the phone calls and overhearing the conversation. The employee was new and did misinform the person on the phone who was taking my information. So, obviously they were at fault. So then we got into benefit exception. So we started going through this whole process. Then I got a phone call that was denied. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Don't understand what is happening. Like, I don't get this. Like, you guys literally are the ones who put this benefit exception into play so that I could get approved. And now you're denying it. So the lady on the phone told me, she said, well, since you haven't had surgery, we're not going to cover it. Like, yeah, sorry you were misinformed, but like if you had already had the procedure and we misinformed you, like, yeah, we'd pay for it. But since you haven't already had it, like, we're not just gonna like pay for it. And I was like,
wow,
are you like, is this real life? So so Taz, this girl that I'm talking to, she happened to be out of the office at that point in time, so I couldn't reach her. Well, anyways, she called me. She was like, no, this is not the end of the road. She was like, let me handle this. So basically, we got the employer involved. They signed paperwork, sent it through. It took like a month. I was already ready to go to Mexico. I was like, I'm done with my insurance company. Like, I had literally like money ready to go to put my deposit down. Like, I was going to that day. And then I got a phone call that they're approving it. So
Oh,
it's been a literal
minute.
roller coaster. And yeah, so I got the approval back in October. And yeah, I've been hightailing it to get everything done because they told me they wanted it done by the end of the year. And I was like, okay, so what do we need to do now? So
well, yeah. Well, and then on top of that, and now there's COVID, where all of these like surgeries that aren't like critical to survival, right? It keeps getting denied. Everybody's surgery keeps getting pushed back. I mean,
I know. I am so lucky. Like, our governor here in Indiana, he did put restrictions out about surgeries, but he said anything in the hospital inpatient, is what we're talking about. So I knew that I was going to be in a surgery center, but like, I don't really know what's what. I don't know the lingo, so I'm just thinking, oh my God, I'm staying overnight. I'm inpatient, and so I started freaking out. I was crying. I hadn't heard from my clinic at all. So I was like, literally had an appointment the next day. So I was like, okay, just talk to them tomorrow. I went to my appointment. Nobody said anything. And so I sat down in the room and the nurse was like, okay, so you're scheduled for the 22nd. I said, hold up, wait a second. I said, is my surgery canceled or not? Because like, I need to know, like, I'm freaking out. She was like, oh, honey, no, you're fine. She was like, you're considered outpatient. The sleepers are outpatient. The bypassers are the ones that are inpatient that are done in the hospital. She said, so we're trying to move everybody around to get them in. And, we may have to push our sleepers back. But you should be fine. And I was like, oh, thank God. So then my surgeon came in and he was like, I'm here to tell you that your surgery date is staying. And I said, thank God. Praise the Lord. You are my boss.
It's like watching an episode of Mission Impossible just to get your damn surgery done from start to finish.
I keep telling people I will not be calm until I wake up in recovery.
Oh yeah, there's no way, because every single window is the narrowest of margins that you're eking through to get this stuff done, and paperwork's passing at the last minute before things. Oh my gosh. I
know. And like another reason for this is I've met my deductible, which never happens. And so like I owe actually $0 for this surgery. So like that's another reason why I'm like, this has to get done before January 1st. Like, yes. There's no exceptions here. So yeah, I will not be calm until I wake up in recovery, and then I can say we did it.
I don't blame you. There's no way you could be. I mean, my gosh, if you weren't on the liquid diet, you'd be, you probably gain another 40 pounds eating everything from the scratch just for trying to get the damn surgery done. I know where you're coming from on that one. Unfortunately, I lost my mom about 6 years ago, so I could not imagine after kind of I'm not going to say a lengthy battle, but about almost a year of dealing with that kind of stuff and having to do that and being in the hospital with her and going through all the things and setting up everything, after she had passed. I couldn't imagine having to go through what I did pre-op while I was dealing with that at the same time. So not only do our, hearts and thoughts go out to you for having to deal with that at all, but having to deal with it through this, the strength that takes is amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, I give it all to God, honestly. I mean, that's just, he's such a big part of my life. So, and I just, that's another thing too. Like, I just want to be a light for him. And that's part of the reason I also wanted to create this platform. But also being raw and real and honest, sometimes I feel like not 100% Christian like I should be, but I try to. I love Jesus, but I cuss a little. Sorry.
There you go.
No judgment here. No judgment here. Everybody's got to live their life the way that they are called to do so. So no.
Yeah.
Well, and your story also brings up a really important part of weight loss surgery, which people either underestimate or they don't know that they're going to have to go through. But you have to run a gauntlet to get approved if you are going through insurance. And if you do not fight tooth and nail and act like a bulldog and harass people and get to know people and get people on your side, you're not going to get approved. Yeah. And if you are not willing to kind of put yourselves if you're not used to like being that person, if you're not used to asking questions and fighting and reading and researching and really crossing every T and dotting every I, it's going to be a nightmare. And they do 250,000 surgeries a year. And I think it's a miracle that many actually get done. Just because I've heard so many stories similar to yours, you're just going, oh my God. And we talk to people all the time that are like, well, I started the process, but it was just too much, or it was overwhelming, or I got roadblocked, or people wouldn't talk to me, or X, Y, and Z. And it's like, oh my God, why is this such a difficult procedure to go through when it's a medical tool like any other medical tool out there that we can use to live a healthy life? And the insurance companies would be money ahead. If you're going to spend $100,000 on us to get this surgery, you're going to save millions of dollars in the long run between diabetes and heart issues and brain issues and all these other things. It's like, I don't understand.
True. I know. It's so true. And like, I constantly have people messaging me saying like, oh, my insurance denied me. Like, what do I do? Like, I need your help and blah, blah, blah. And so like, I love that I can be there for people, but sometimes I have to give them like, tough love and say like, look, you have to fight for it. Like either you want it bad enough or you don't. And I'm not saying don't be upset about it. Let yourself feel the things. Okay. I sobbed forever. Every time I got a denial, I sobbed. And I said, but then you got to pick yourself up and you got to figure out, okay, what's my next move? Like, what do I need to do? Like, who do I need to call? Who do I need to contact? Like, and you just got to keep going.
Well, and that was the crazy thing. Like for me, the only way I knew that my job was so easy to do it was because there was 9 other people at my job that had already gone through it.
There you go.
Were like, no, they were like, it's cake. Like you skate through it. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's good to know. Well, so I told my wife about it and she went to her work and they were just like, fucking die and be fat. We don't give a shit. Like, sorry about your luck. Like, we don't cover that. Like, get out of here.
Gosh.
And so she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And she did it. She looked at hers right before I had mine, which was February and March of 2020. And so she's like, I'll just have to be put on your insurance. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not until, October that we open enrollment, and it won't go into effect until January of 2021. Right. So she's waited all year long watching me go through my process and my progress to now just be ready. Like we added her in October like we were supposed to.
You did? Okay, I was going to ask, like, where are we at in this?
Oh, no, we definitely added her in October. As soon as the day it was open, we added her. So she'll go live January 1st, and we have the same primary care physician. So she's already been prepping her versus my pre-work to get her ready. So she's really just snap, crackle, pop. And I'm hoping that we can get, my hope is that we can get her close to, if not my same surgery date. So we'll have the same surgery date just a year apart.
I love that. That's amazing.
That's
Good.
my
Well, I'll be
plan.
praying for her that things go smoothly.
Thank you so much.
Yep. All right. So now that we know that you have run the gauntlet between your personal life and life with the insurance, you are now 3 days away or 2 days away from your procedure. So we have some questions that we want to ask you just about where you're at now, knowing that you are so close to really changing your life forever. Okay. So what has been running through your mind recently that's related to your weight loss surgery? What is is there something keeping you up at night? Is there something that's like, what is right there at the top?
Oh my gosh. I know.
The liquid diet.
Yeah. Yes. So, I've been on my liquid diet. This is day 7 of my liquid diet. And oh my God, like this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I mean, I will say it's funny because April, you had messaged me and you sent me this voice memo that like I literally am probably going to keep listening to like over and over because like I just wish somebody would have told me this, and nobody told me this like before starting my liquid diet, that like you're going to question everything. You're going to question every decision you've ever made in your life up until this point.
Yes.
Your question, what the hell are you doing? Like, what are you getting yourself into? Like, how are you going to get through this? And like, that's literally been my mind the last week. Like, I am just so drained. Like, I'm so over it. I don't know how people do this for more than 7 days. I truly do not understand. Like, I'm dying. So I definitely have been thinking about, like, what am I getting myself into? And then I just keep thinking, I'm like, okay, here's the thing though. It's not going to feel like this after surgery. Like, it's going to be totally different. And this is just to prep myself. This is so that I'm not sick after surgery. This is so that I'm not like overly constipated and like, so I keep telling myself like, this is literally temporary. It's literally just preparation. Like this is not the rest of your life. And so I'm battling those two sides.
Yes. It is such Jason will share his experience, which was opposite from what you and I, what you're going through and when I went through. But it's amazing what your mind will do when all of a sudden you take that food away. When you take the thing away that you were using to cope with life, when all of a sudden that's away and you're just, your brain is just left to go, oh, I see you now. Yeah. Oh, look who's here. And you're like, what the fuck? But the crazy thing is that the food was stopping all of those thoughts beforehand because it was just what you could use to zone out and tune out. And right. It was what you did. And then all of a sudden when that's gone, you're just left with your raw brain and that raw connection that you have with food. And it is terrifying because it is amazing how powerful those thoughts and those stories are. And it's really dark. It's really scary. And if you can't come up with what you have come up with, which is, okay, no, here's why I'm doing this. It's so that I'm healthy after surgery. It's so that I don't, things don't go wrong during surgery. If you can't tap into that rational part of your brain, that's why you see people literally like the day of surgery, they're like, no, I'm not doing this. And they skate out and you're just going, you were there. What are you doing?
You're literally right there. Yeah.
You're literally right. You are letting the most irrational part of your brain talk you out of one of the best things that you could do for your life.
Yeah.
The morning of my surgery, the guy that was supposed to be next to me that was coming in, he went and had breakfast before he came to have surgery. It was like, what do you mean I can't still go through with it? Like, you just left Denny's, numb nuts. What do you mean you can't go through? Yeah, you got a belly full of food, jackass. Like, go start over.
Oh yeah. God. Somebody was telling me about how when they were in recovery, there was another guy there who was like really sick, was like not tolerating it well. And he admitted to the nurse, she overheard their conversation. He said, yeah, I did not do the liquid diet. Like I had pizza and burgers and like, he's like, I didn't do it. And so like, he was like sick as all get out. And I'm like, oh my God. And so then, I'm like, thank you for telling me that because like eases my mind a little bit, but yeah.
Well, and I think in most surgeons, if they find out that you have not, if they have assigned a liquid diet to you or a specific diet, and they find out you have not been true to that, they will not.
I believe it.
No, you don't, because they're risking, their stats. Not only are they risking your life, but they're risking their stats. I mean, these surgeons want to have 100% success. And if you can't even get your ish together to do a really, in the grand scheme of things, a very short liquid diet,
short term,
you're not going to be successful after surgery. You're going to eat through it. You're not going to do anything that they say. So why would they want you on their team? They don't.
Agreed.
No, they don't. No,
totally.
Well, Jason, you had your pre-op diet was forever, and you had a breeze with it.
Yeah, mine was 2 weeks, and my surgeon sat me down and was really pretty upfront with it, because when I first came in, he was like, "What surgery are you looking at?" And I said, "Well, I was like, I'm kind of batting back and forth between the full bypass and the sleeve." I said, "But I really think I want the sleeve." And after he did my little pre-workup, he's like, "You're too high risk for the bypass." He goes, "You're too old and you're too big." And I said, "Okay, well, sleeve it is." I said, that made it pretty simple. And he was like, "So we're going to do the 2-week liquid diet." He goes, "But this is to shrink your liver." He's like, "If you don't shrink your liver and I get in there digging around, I could nip it. And if I nip it, there's big problems for you." And I was like, "Well, okay. So if I'm already high risk enough, I don't want to even create any more problems than there already could be." I was like, "So I'm going to play the game." Like, I knew already ahead of time that I had a major, like, I basically lived on Mountain Dew before I had surgery. Well, a year before I knew I was going to have it, when I was approved and all that stuff, I just quit drinking it, because I was like, I know that I got really bad caffeine headaches on top of the migraines I already get. And I was like, there's no way I want to be trying to recover from surgery and doing that at the same time. So I kicked that, did a lot of pre-work ahead of time, and just kind of going through the motions in my head about what I knew my life was going to have to be like when I, after surgery, so that I wouldn't have such a hard time with it. And I got to the 2-week liquid diet and literally lived off of, sugar-free Jell-O and popsicles, plowed through those like nobody's business, 2 shakes a day, and pretty much all the water I could get a hold of. Now, I did have a food funeral, much like you did.
Yes.
I felt so bad for you that you crushed all the Krispy Kreme and couldn't really continue with your day like you wanted to. So
oh my gosh, I know. Oh, they were so good. No regrets.
I get it. I 100% got it. Like, I connected. I was like, dude, those are so bomb. When you open the box, I was like, damn.
Everybody.
She's like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "Dude, look at these donuts." And she's like, "Food porn, really, dude?" And I was like, "I mean, maybe a little." So
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right. I'm like, "Look, I can't eat it." I was like, "But damn, I can look at it."
Yeah.
So I felt really bad about that, because she was like, "What do you want to do?" So literally Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I went out. I did it big. I had a 28-ounce ribeye. I had.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
I had chicken Alfredo. Like, I went hard in the paint. So I was laughing because when we first originally started talking about it, I was like, "You're not going to eat all that in one weekend." I was like, "We're going to, or I'm going to." I was like, "But
the hell I am."
I was like, "There's no way in hell I'm gonna tap dance into this thing and not, go out with a bang." But I told April, like I mentioned it on one of the other podcasts, I was like, I literally, like, when I knew how bad the problem was, because I always knew that I was big and I knew I ate too much and I knew it was a problem, but I didn't know the dependency portion of it until I went to the doctor's office for my like, just, we were basically tying loose ends up to make sure everything was a go. And they were like, "Okay, well, we can do your surgery on the 11th, which means you start your liquid diet on Monday." And this was a Friday. And I was like, but we're going to have a potluck at work on that day when I get back. I was like, and it's going to be like the best potluck that we've had at work ever. I was like, and I started thinking of other stuff I wanted to do, and I second guessed pushing my surgery date.
Oh my God.
I started to be like, maybe I don't want to do that on the 11th. And I sat back in my chair and I was like, "You moron." I was like, "If you don't spit it out and tell this dude you're going to do it on the 11th, I was like, that's the dumbest shit ever." So I pulled the trigger and went for the 11th. Now, when I got to work and that potluck kicked off, I kicked myself in the ass because I was like, everything that I ever could have wanted was at my fingertips in mass quantities. And I just had to sit there with my Jello like, oh, no, I'm good.
But it's
I
so
can't believe
irrational.
Did you? Yeah, I would have gone to my car. I would have not even joined.
No,
I would have gone home.
but I knew. And I thought about it because I was like, this is going to happen one of two ways. I'm either going to run from this or I'm going to just immerse myself in it because this is how I'm going to have to live forever.
Yeah.
I was like, so if I can't do it right now, I'm not going to be able to do it after that fact. And it sucked because the very next day I was trapped in a small little meeting room with two other people that were plowing through pizza. And I'm sitting there with my shake like, protein shake. Yeah, it's
You're
good.
a strong dude. I commend you for that.
It sucked because there was very little ventilation in that room. So it was just me and and two people just plowing through it. It was hard. I was just like, no, you guys are great. That's
Oh my God.
But you know, in all the conversations that we've had with surgeons and with other people in the community who are familiar with this experience, you know, the stats say that people who can commit to it, people who can get through the pre-op stages and actually follow what they're supposed to do, have such a higher percentage of success after surgery. Because if you allow your rational brain to start kicking in before surgery and you start noticing and wondering and having these hard conversations with yourself, you are preparing for what is coming afterwards. And coming face to face with that before is key. It's not pleasant. It's not enjoyable. It's very dark.
Yeah. But I know it's going to be such a crucial part of all this. Yes. And that's what I try to keep telling myself, you know, like you're going to look back a year from now and be like, I did that. And like, look where I am now, you know?
Yes. So, oh my gosh.
It'll be funny pretty close after surgery because you'll look back and be like, the shit wasn't even that hard. But you'll look back at your videos that you're doing that you did all Blair Witch style and you're like, how am I surviving? Yes. And you'll be like, that shit wasn't even that bad. Like, because I don't even remember. I remember like 3 days of my liquid diet. And that's about it.
Yeah. Like, was it really that traumatic? You know?
Yeah.
If you can't
it is in the moment.
Right now, 100% it sucks right now.
Yeah. No, this is real.
On that. I know.
What you're experiencing is real, but the growth and the strength that you are going to accumulate very quickly after your surgery is that's why it's scary beforehand, because I went into surgery really worried that I was going to be a totally different person, and I didn't want to be a different person. But now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm so glad I am a different person. I wouldn't have been able to find success if I had stayed the old me. The old me was weak sauce, and now I'm like Superwoman. So that's okay that things kind of got switched. Okay, so my next question for you is, are you worried about something? Is there like a big worry that you have right now? And what are you doing to kind of quell that worry?
You know, everybody's been asking me like, oh my gosh, are you getting nervous? And I'm like, no, I have no fears about the actual procedure. I don't know why. I'm not nervous about it at all. Like, I'm more worried about just the change afterwards. And like, you know, like knowing, like, I need to like learn to trust my body, and like knowing like when enough is enough, like not making myself sick. Like that's more what I'm scared about, you know? But you know, I'm just ready to get the freaking show on the road.
Yep.
That's how I feel.
There's training wheels for that worry. Don't you worry. Like right shortly after anything that I would eat or drink, when I finally got to the point where I could, I'm one of those that my nose will run like a faucet when I'm full. Like it happens after a couple of bites, my nose is like, hey, what's up? Boom. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm
what?
done.
That's cool. Is that like a thing? I want my nose to run. Just like tell me, okay, all right, we're done.
Yeah. It starts with a little bit, and then it'll just be like, yep, you're done. And I'm like, okay, pack it up.
That really is the magic of surgery. I didn't believe that I would know when I was full, because I never knew when I was full before surgery.
Yeah.
And I just thought, this just can't be true. But yeah, no, after surgery, and the fact that you're going to have this wonderful tool that's going to very quickly tell you, oh no, I am full. And it's a sensation you've probably never experienced before ever. But just the fact too, that you already know, like, oh, I'm really going to have to start listening to my body. And even if you don't know what that means yet, or what that feels like, that's the tool of surgery. It's going to teach you that instantly. And then you're going to go, oh, this is what normal people, this is what people who don't struggle with weight feel like all the time. And all of a sudden you're going to be able to articulate how you never felt that way before, and why you had such a difficult time, with the weight before. So, okay. So here's a question that I did not tell you I was going to ask you before. And I just want your honest answer.
Okay.
Do you believe with 100% certainty, weight loss surgery will work for you?
Yes. Like, no hesitation. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think that, like, I didn't put myself through actual hell, like, to not succeed at this, like,
yes.
1000%. Yes, I will succeed.
Okay.
For sure.
I love it.
I have to agree, just based on watching your journey and your story up until this point. Talking to you today just drives that point home, that I truly believe it will, because you seem very strapped into the just not only the idea, but kind of how the transition's going to be, and the fact that you're kind of running headlong into it. Really, it really kind of reminds me of part of my journey, and the way I kind of just took it head on and ran with it. So I have to agree. I think you'll do amazing.
Thank you.
Well, and I love asking people that question, because I did not. I was 99% sure surgery would work, but I had 1%, because I tried everything before and nothing worked.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any evidence that anything in the world would actually help me live at a healthy weight. So I think it's important that people know that you can have it. You can be successful and be like me, or be like you. It's
that
just the point.
Very interesting.
Right. But it's just the fact that you commit to whatever is coming your way. Right. I mean, that Mack trucks are coming at you full speed, but you are prepared to deal with that as they come on. And that's the difference, right? Either for 99 or 100, knowing that we're committing to what we anticipate is coming our way, and that we have the tools and we have the ability to gather the tools if we don't have them, is what allows people to find success after weight loss surgery. So
definitely.
Well, and one of the things too, like, and because I fully understand where Katie's coming from when she says she worries about eating through being full, because all of us that overeat know there's a wall that you hit before surgery, where you're eating and you're like, man, I feel kind of full, but this shit's so good, I'm not done yet. So you push through the wall,
and then you're sick for hours. Like, that's how I get when I overeat.
You push through the wall. You pile a few more in. You pile a few more on, and then you're like, then after you feel horrible, and that's just not. It's not that kind of party after the fact. So you're okay. You got about a 6-month window in there where it's going to be like, no, we're not doing that now. Like I told April the other day, you will have what's called what I like to call the Chinese food effect. You get about an hour, about 45 minutes to an hour in, and you're like, I can go again. Like, you may get
a bite or two.
You can go back and graze a little bit, but you're not going to be like, I'll just push through the wall, because that wall's not moving. Moving.
No, it's not. All right. So, Katie, what do you think your life will be like after weight loss surgery? What do you think will change, or what are you hoping will change, and what do you hope will stay the same?
Oh my gosh. I literally do not stop dreaming about my future. And like, I think that's why I'm so motivated too, is because like, I'm such a dreamer. I'm such a daydreamer. And, I cannot wait to go shopping. Like, I cannot wait for shopping to be an enjoyable experience again. I mean, I think maybe it was at one point in my life a long time ago, and I mean, I like to go shopping, but like a lot of times I don't like to go with friends, because I can't shop at the stores that they can, a lot of times. Like, I remember this last time I went to the mall with my friend, there's a store and they give you a free t-shirt with like $30 purchase or something. I don't know. And like, they only carry them in small, medium, and large. So like, I couldn't even get one. I was like, why would I get one? I can't even wear it, you know? And so that was frustrating. You know, I was like, come on. So I just can't wait to be able to just shop wherever I want, you know? And I can't wait to just like not sweat all the time, like sitting here right now, like pool of sweat on my ass. And like, I just would love to just like not sweat all the time. That would be great. You know, my therapist, I was talking to her at our last appointment and she was like, I feel like this is just going to be like a springboard for you, and that it's just going to like propel you into so many other places in your life. And like that is what I want. I want energy. I want to work. Like currently, I love doing nothing. My favorite hobby is doing nothing. And I hate that about myself. And I hate that I'm lazy. I hate that I'm okay with laying around and not doing shit because I'm lazy and I have no energy. And I'm depressed. So I just want to have energy to actually live life. I want to enjoy life. Something that I want to stay the same is, I want it to change, but also stay the same. My relationship with my husband, he's amazing and he loves me so much. And I know he does. And he would do anything for me. And I just want to fall more in love with myself so I'm able to fall more in love with him. You know, like I know he's worried about the whole like 80% of people get divorced after bariatric surgery. Like I know he's worried about that. I don't know why. I don't know like what it is that like scares him about that. But like I want him to know that like that's not even on my radar. Like I know we're not going to be a statistic like that. You know, like if anything, I want this to give me more confidence, so I'm willing to let him in more, so I'm willing to love him more, you know, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I
understand that completely. I think in that area of our life, you and I are very much aligned. Much aligned. I tend to be a very private person, and and it's very hard for me to let people in, you know, at really a very deep level, even though we've been married for, 9 years now. It's very difficult. And I can say that my experience, it has done for me what you were hoping it will do for you and for our relationship. It's not perfect. Yeah, but it is a very different experience. And really just for what you said, because it's allowed me to have a different relationship with myself. It's allowed me to understand more about me and why I do the things that I do and how those can be damaging to myself and to my relationship. So I absolutely understand that.
Yeah.
What has been the most helpful for you before weight loss surgery? Have there just been like things or people or resources that have just been like, oh my gosh, this has been so helpful that you would recommend other people access?
Sorry, I'm readjusting. My foot's falling asleep. Cannot feel it at all. Okay. Resources. Yes. So Instagram, 1000%. I'm not kidding. I feel like I sound stupid when I say this, but like Instagram has changed my life. Like 1000%. Like do you know how many people have messaged me and saying like, girl, you got this. Like, you're not going to give up. Like, you got this. You can do this. Like this past week, like I like, you just, you know, you're not alone, you know? And like, it's amazing. The community is amazing. And that's my number one for sure. I think it's important to develop friendships with people that are going through this, have gone through this, you know, like I reach out to them a lot for advice. And so that's super important, whether that's somebody at your local clinic or that's somebody that you meet through a friend or whatever, but like you need somebody in your corner. Like you can have all the friends and family on your side, but like you need somebody that has gone through it to give you tips. So I think those are my probably top 2 pieces of advice I would give as far as resources go.
Yep, absolutely. I think Jason and I would agree. That's where he and I met, and we're huge supports for each other.
Yes. Well, and 100%, because like I told April, part of my pre-op was, or my nutritionist had me enroll in a bariatric support group on Facebook for my surgeon's office. Okay. So I jumped in there and I'm like, I start noticing, I'm like, a lot of these people just talk shit to each other and judge each other for what they're doing and their habits and their routines. I was like, I don't understand how this is supposed to support anybody. Like, I'm going to do it because I have to for part of, to get the surgery. I was like, but I'm not coming to these people and asking them questions at all. I said, because all they're doing is judging other people and talking shit. I was like, so I don't like, I had an Instagram account, but I just didn't ever mess with it because I'm like,
well,
I'm
you
over
didn't
here on
know.
Facebook. No, and because I was doing a ton of other stuff on Facebook anyway, and so I wasn't familiar enough with Instagram to really be able to go that deep into it. So I jumped over there when I found the bariatric virtual meetup that April was doing, and that's really what tapped me into the large community for bariatric patients. And now the pendulum to that has switched so far that I stay on Instagram 90% more than I do on Facebook now, except for a couple of sports groups and things that I'm in on Facebook and just family and stuff that I keep up with. But for the most part, I do the majority of my stuff on Instagram just because the support is true support. And not only are we, able to luckily be able enough to offer that, but the support you get even when you're offering it to other people is just overwhelmingly amazing. And I agree 100%. It's a life changer for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. So how have you prepared for your hospital visit, or how are you really preparing for like what you think is coming, the moment that you wake up, or or the days after surgery?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know how to answer this question because I mean, everybody says like, don't bring too much, I didn't use anything in my bag that I brought, blah, blah, blah. And I'm always an overpacker. So I'm like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to plan. We're just going to make a little plan. Okay. We're just going to plan. We're going to write a little list, make sure I have the essentials on the list. And that's it. We're not going to overpack. We're going to bring one outfit. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're going to wear an outfit there that is going to be cozy, and then we're going to pack one outfit. We don't need all the excess, so I'm just like trying to tell this chill. Okay.
Yeah, because your cozy pre-op outfit's coming off pretty damn quick, and they're going to scrub you down and they're going to throw you in a gown and go, hey, have a seat.
Yeah, I probably don't even need to bring an outfit, truthfully. But as far as preparing myself, like, are you talking about like mentally for surgery or just in general for life after surgery? Anything like that?
Yeah, just anything. Like what do you think is gonna really help you, from as soon as you wake up?
Yeah. So somebody told me to get a neck pillow. I literally just got this in the mail today. It's freaking awesome. It clips and it like moves around so you can like adjust it, but like, it's so cozy. So I got one of those. Somebody told me to like get that. So I'm on that. I'm going to get my prescriptions filled. My doctor already wrote me like pain meds, prescription and all that. I'm on my list to get is liquid Tylenol. I need to get magnesium citrate. I need to get, a few other things that I need to pick up, but small things. But as far as after surgery, I mean, my husband's going to be there with me beforehand. They are letting him come in. They were going to let him spend the night. It's crazy. I even asked them, I said, so like, when am I getting COVID tested? They were like, well, have you been in contact with anybody? I was like, well, I mean, no, and she was like, okay, well, you don't need to get tested. I was like, okay, sweet.
Okay.
Like, whatever. So yeah, it was kind of crazy. So like, they're just kind of like chill about it, which is nice. So he could spend the night if he wanted to. I told him, do not feel like you have to. Like, I'd rather you get a good night's sleep, and I probably will sleep better just like not worrying about you. So but yeah, he'll probably come back to pick me up that morning, and then I just want to start walking. Like everybody says, like walk. Yes. So that's my plan. I'm actually allowed to have food like my first day. Like everybody's asking me like, well, you're going to have to be on liquids for like X amount of weeks after. So you need to get used to it. Every time I complain, and I'm like, okay, first of all, Karen, I don't actually. I can have mashed potatoes my first day, so like, fuck off.
No, that's good, but because that's different. Because I was on liquids 2 weeks after as well. I didn't start getting mashed.
No, I can have like actual food, and I think maybe I need to talk about that more on my Instagram because it's not that's not common. Like apparently,
No.
I don't know.
No,
This is my first time.
It's not, but at the same time, nobody's surgeons or rules or any of that are common
everything's
either.
different, which is like another topic. But
mine happened directly, like COVID was starting to come around.
Yeah.
So I luckily got in right before all the bad stuff happened. So my wife stayed with me. I slept in the recliner and she slept in the hospital bed. So
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how different every surgeon is? I mean, it's odd, even though the procedure is the exact same.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And like I was telling somebody else how, my liquid diet, I had 2 programs I could choose from. I could do their OptiFast program or I could do the alternative. I chose the alternative because the program that they normally do, I had to pay $150 for everything. And I'm like, I'm already quarantined from work. Like I don't have this kind of money, So I did the alternative, which is 7 carnation shakes a day. Well, the plan that they normally do, you can have 2 protein bars and like soup and like all this stuff that they give you. And I'm like, okay, that's like bullshit. That like you're letting them have 2 protein bars a day and I'm not allowed to have anything. So I have been letting myself have peanut butter almost every day because I'm like, you know what? I would be a lot of protein bar if I took the other plan. If I wanted to pay $150, I could be having a protein bar right now.
You chose the right way because I paid the $155 for mine and I ended up giving half of mine away because I didn't drink.
Really?
They didn't give me an option though, because mine was just like, you can buy these from us and do it the right way, or you can take your own course and possibly damage yourself post or pre-op. Which one do you want to choose? And I was like, here's your money. Give me the bag.
Way to guilt me into it. Jeez.
Right. Yeah.
But,
choices, huh? Thanks.
Yeah, so many choices. But yeah, so I've had a little peanut butter here and there, but other than that, I've been good. Yeah. So I'm just, I've got my mashed potatoes ready and roaring. I can have pudding and I can have yogurt. Everything has to be like thinned out with milk and like very, very smooth consistency. So, but yeah, I got all that like ready to go. I did not overbuy because obviously like 2 bites, I'm going to be full probably the first week. So I just got like the cups of instant mashed potatoes that I can just make and like save throughout the day if I want a little bit more or whatever. So I didn't, everybody's like, your taste buds are going to change, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like I won't, know.
They may not because mine didn't.
Yeah, I kind of hope
mine did.
The only difference for me is that things have become, I've become a lot more sensitive to seasoning, so it takes a lot less. But there's nothing that I didn't like before that I'm like, ooh, I just can't wait to have Brussels sprouts. Like, no. And I've been like, ooh, steak's so gross. Like, no, absolutely not.
Well, and everybody's just so different. That's one of those things where you just have to get on the other side to figure out. That's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, girl. Is there anything that you want to tell yourself that you want to be able to go back to and listen to after you're on the other side? Is there like any? Yeah, I mean, this is your time to kind of make your own time capsule. Is there anything?
I love this. I love that you include that in there. That's so cool. Yeah, I guess, you can literally do anything you put your mind to. Like, you're stronger than you think you are, like literally look at what you've done. You've had liquids for 7 damn days. Like, you went without actual food for 7 days. Like, you can do anything, and this life is worth living. So get out there and live it. That's what I'm doing.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I cannot wait to talk to you in a few weeks after your surgery.
Yeah, me too. I'm stoked.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be so transformational. So transformational.
I'm so ready. Oh my gosh. I'm so ready. It's going to be so good.
Oh goodness. Okay, girl. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. We very, 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 very much appreciate it. And yeah, we will talk to you in a couple weeks and
awesome.
See how it all went.
Yay. Thank you for having me. It's been so fun. I cannot wait to follow up.
Best of luck. I can't wait.
Yep. We are in your corner the entire way. All way.
Guys. Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Hello, welcome back to part 2 of our interview with Katie.VSG. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Oh my God, we are so excited to welcome you back. And the first thing that I said when I saw your face pop on Zoom was, holy shit, your face.
I know. I've been saying that myself. Like, I didn't notice it at first. And then like somebody was like, you need to do a side by side because like I can't handle it. And so I did that and I was like, wait, what? Like, and then I looked in the mirror at myself and I was like, oh shit. Like there really is a change there. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yes. And I think you and I must have the similar types of bodies because my weight loss started at the top of my head and moved down. You're going to be the exact same way.
Same way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just going to go this way, which is totally fine. I mean, as long as it goes somewhere, right? Exactly.
Yeah, right. As long as I can lose in other places other than my neck, I'll be good.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you again for joining us. This is our very first like pre-post episode. And I think it's a pretty awesome concept. Jason's stoked about it. I know that you're excited about it, but I think so much changes in our lives, you know, really as soon as we wake up from bariatric surgery. And it's important to take a moment and kind of reflect on all that has changed, even in a short amount of time. Because I think, you know, the questions that we asked you before surgery, we're going to ask you again now after surgery. And I'm so looking forward to seeing how or if, you know, your answers have changed and just like how your outlook, you know, has
yeah, changed. Me too. I'm excited.
Oh, okay. So first things first, how far out are you now of surgery and how much have you lost?
So today is Saturday. I believe this will be aired on Monday. So by that Monday, I will be right at 5 weeks post-op. Okay. And currently I am down 21 pounds in surgery and down 28 pounds overall.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like 20 pounds is amazing, but it's like, you don't really realize how much 20 pounds is, or even almost, I guess almost 30 now until you experience it. And in such a short amount of time too, you know, it's like, holy cow. Like I feel it everywhere. So,
my first 30 pounds, dude, I was bouncing around. I was like, man, this feels great. I was like, if I feel this good after 30, I can't imagine what it's going to be like when it's 100.
Yes.
Like I was so jazzed up. Like, I was ready to go.
Me too.
Well, you know, and I think too, what makes, you know, the weight loss after surgery different from weight loss before is that, you know, before you're working your ass off and you're dropping a pound to maybe 3 pounds a week. And when you lose so gradually, it just doesn't seem like anything has changed. But then all of a sudden you go 5 weeks and I've lost, you know, 5, 6, 7 pounds a week. It's so instant. It just feels different. That release of weight in such a short amount of time. It's like, oh my God, it just, very, very different. Very, very different. Okay. So are you feeling kind of back to normal? Are you feeling like,
it's so crazy. So like, I know April and I, we talked about this before too, but I had a lot of pain after my surgery and I wasn't expecting that. And it's just not something that people really talk about. And like I had heard, oh, like you won't have an appetite, you know, you'll have to really like focus on eating and make sure you're getting enough calories. But like that has not been my situation at all. Like I had a ton of pain and I've been hungry since post-op day 1. So like my experience has just been completely different from everything else that I had really heard. So that's why like I'm excited that I've been documenting this from the start because I want other people to know that like, listen, stop comparing because like your situation could be completely different than somebody else's.
Right. Yes. Which is why these conversations are so powerful, right? Because people need to know that their recovery, their pre-op and their post-op can and will look different from other people's. It doesn't mean that something's wrong necessarily. It doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It just means that your body's different from mine. But it's important to know kind of like the rainbow of what you can experience so that you know, okay, if something is really crazy, you know, off the charts, you need to call your doctor, right?
Yeah. But, definitely. Yeah. Right? But yeah. So like literally like 3 days ago is when my pain, like, I remember you told me you're just going to wake up one day and you're going to feel incredible. And it actually happened for me. I was actually like, I knew when it happened because I was in the shower and I was like massaging my incision scars because somebody told me to do that to help alleviate some of the scar tissue. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing them. They're pretty fully healed now. And I felt this like little like pop sensation, and I knew I had a stitch that was getting ready to like dissolve and like fall out. That was in my stomach muscle that my surgeon had stitched up really tight to prevent a hernia. And so like I've been waiting for that to come out, and so it finally came out, and like it was like instant relief. It's crazy. It's so crazy. I like stood there and I was like, because I felt it, I was like, what did I do? What did I do? Like I was like, oh my god. So I started moving. I'm like, I don't have any pain. I don't have any more pain. It was just so crazy. And
right? And I told you that too. You and I were messaging back and forth, and you were like, "Oh my god, I'm in so much pain." I'm like, "That's normal." And one day you're gonna wake up and go, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm totally fine."
Yep, and that's what happened. And it's crazy. Ever since then, I have felt amazing.
Wow. So tell us about your hunger sensations, because I did not experience that. I don't know if Jason, if you did, but that would have had to have been a little bit frustrating because. Right. I think you do go into weight loss surgery thinking I'm not going to be hungry ever again, which is not true. Or I'm not going to be hungry for a very long time. So for you to have that hunger right away must have been like, what?
It was weird. So to be honest with you, like now that I'm 5 weeks out, I am so grateful that I'm hungry still. And I'll tell you why. Because in the beginning, you know, like I literally like day one post-op, I was like, I feel hungry. Like I need to eat something. And so like, I literally took maybe 2 bites of like some mashed potatoes or whatever. I was cleared to have foods from day one. And I know that's not always the case for everybody. So for me, I was able to have food. So I would take like a couple bites and then I would be full, completely full. And I feel great. And I'd be like, okay, this is awesome. And, you know, I was so worried about becoming dehydrated and like not getting the nutrients that I needed. And so now looking back on it, like I am stoked. Like I love the fact that I've had an appetite because I've had no problems like hitting my goals and getting enough water in. I haven't felt like shit at all. The only problems I've had were just with my pain. Everything else has been great. So now that my pain's over, like it's been an amazing experience for me and I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah, I was kind of in the middle. I wasn't hungry, but I wasn't nauseous either. I could take down, I've been pretty blessed to be able to hit about 2 ounces of intake of liquids at a time from day one. I could do 2 ounces and it didn't bother me a bit.
Yeah.
I'm up to where I can do 4 ounces at a time now and it doesn't bother me at all. But I was never really nauseous, and I got hungry before I was cleared to have regular food. So I was still on liquids 2 weeks post-op, and I wasn't able to even do soft scrambled eggs until that 2 weeks post-op was out. But trust me, the day that I was cleared, my ass was at the stove, and I'm up there. I was just like, that was the best one single large egg I had ever had in my life. And I didn't eat the whole thing, but damn, that 3/4 that I plowed through, I was on it.
I bet. Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird how like you had a 2-week post-op liquid diet. I didn't. I mean, technically it was considered full liquids, but I mean, I could have cottage cheese, I could have pudding, I could have mashed potatoes, like I could have any of that. And that I was so grateful because I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, like I don't have to be stuck drinking shakes. It was amazing. So, but it's just so weird how it's just so different for everybody.
I'm one of the few people that loves the shakes though. I still to this day, I wake up every morning with 11 out with a shake right off the jump, just because that's part of my style. I don't think I'll ever stop that.
Good. Well, and you bring up a really good point that I would have never thought about. To feel the hunger sensation and to have some go-to foods would, I think, really help you reach those macro goals, right? Because I mean, like you said, after 2 or 3 bites, you know that you are full and there is no desire to continue to eat, but your body is telling you, I need some nutrients, I'm needing some water, right? So you're getting very clear signals from your body. And I think after surgery, for people that don't get that, it is a little bit confusing because you never want to eat. So you just, now you feel like you're forcing to eat when you really want to be breaking up with food. Right. So just a very different, very different approach, which is interesting. Okay. So we might have kind of already answered this question, but I want to make sure that we don't miss anything. Was your recovery what you thought it would be?
Not at all. Like not at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here and say my recovery was bad. It's been a great recovery. It's just the first 2 weeks were really, really rough. And, I expected to not be hungry. I expected to not have pain. I expected to be up on my feet after a few days, feel good. I ended up having to take another week off of work, like expanding my time off or extending my time off because I couldn't go back. I was in so much pain. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy. Not at all what I expected, but not necessarily bad. Just, took me a little extra time to get on my feet.
Yep. Well, and sometimes I think that can be a good thing, right? Because it forces you to really understand and to think critically about what you're going through and and just to really be engaged with the process. Because if you think something's going to be one way and it's not, then, you really have to pause and kind of get like on the right track. And that is kind of a skill that you need to find success after surgery anyways. So yeah, good to know.
Totally.
Okay.
Well, and I expected the worst for mine. I expected the worst and kind of got the best. And I was back at work after 6 days of recovery, and I'm allergic to all pain meds. So they gave me Toradol, ibuprofen, and sent me to the house. They were like, take care, man. Have a good one.
Yeah.
But I also sit in the office chair and just type on the computer all day. You do hair, right? So you're standing up, reaching, doing stuff. Like, there's no way I could have done that.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
And I went through 2 bottles of hydrocodone, like 2 full bottles of liquid hydrocodone. Like I know. So I went through the first bottle. I literally took my last dose on my first post-op appointment morning, and I met with the surgeon, and I told him, I said, look, I am in so much pain. And I said, I know everybody's different. I said, but I still need pain meds. I said, you don't have to give me as much as I got the first time. That's fine. Even just enough for the next couple days. I can feel it starting to ease up, but I literally cannot get in and out of the car without something because I cannot get up out of bed without pain meds. It hurts. So yeah, I went through 2 bottles of hydrocodone, and it's crazy because I don't enjoy pain medicine. It kind of makes me nauseous, but I literally could not function without it.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I could not have done it.
But kudos to you for advocating for your needs, right? To really be able to say, no, I'm in a high level of pain. I can't do X, Y, and Z. I need help to get me over the hump. And clearly you were able to do that. And now you have no issues whatsoever.
Yeah,
so.
I'm great now.
Victory. Oh,
that's fantastic.
Girl. So what has been the hardest thing to adjust to post-op?
So there's 2 things that have been really difficult. The first one I'm getting past. But the first one was just having to rely on my husband to do everything because I was in so much pain and just not being able to fend for myself. That was really hard. And, it really teaches you to trust other people to help you. And, I would get so frustrated because I would drop something on the floor and I couldn't freaking pick it up because I couldn't bend over. And I would get so freaking mad.
Your thing with the grabber had you rolling. You're like, I didn't even think about this until
I know. So I got a hand grabber. That's been great. So the first couple of weeks, that was definitely the hardest for me. But now that I'm living normal life, I think just literally transitioning from outside of my bubble, not being home by myself around my food, now I'm out at work where the girls at work, they order burgers and fries, and somebody brought in cake pops the other day, and I walked in and one of the girls was like, you want a cake pop? And I was like, no. I was like, I can't have that shit. What do you mean? She was like, oh my God,
yes,
so
I do,
sorry.
but no, I don't.
I know. I was like, it's fine. I'm not mad. I just think it's funny.
Yes.
But so it's really transitioning into the real world, I think, has been a huge challenge for me. I mean, I'm doing great, but I know that once I get to the point where I can eat whatever I want, And that's not that far away. We're looking at probably a couple months away. And, you know, if that, and it'll be around the corner. You know, people bring in treats all the time. And so like having to like avoid that, and like, you know, the salon girls, they'll bring in donuts on Saturdays, and it's like, oh, I can't. Y'all know donuts are my weakness. But just trying to like maintain like my goals and, you know, staying focused, like being at work and being in the real world, that's definitely been probably the biggest challenge for me.
I appreciate you saying two things, because for us who are very independent and are used to running our shit ourselves, to be knocked down to the point where you have a hard time wiping yourself after using the restroom is humbling, right? Humbling. And then it's really hard to ask for help because right? So I'm thankful that you said that. People need to be aware that that is a big transition. And the other thing that you highlighted, which I also really had to come face to face with, is that our society is rooted in every facet with food. That you cannot drive anywhere in your car and not be bombarded with food. You can't turn on the TV and be bombarded with food. You can't listen to podcasts sometimes without being bombarded with food. It is literally everywhere. When you take this brief break from it and you step kind of out of what was your life before, and you look at what's happening with a clear vision and a clear mind, for me, I finally realized why it was so hard for me to lose weight, right? Because without this tool, you have to say no 10,000 times a minute with everything that is around you. It's insane how prevalent food is in every facet of our lives.
Yeah. And another thing that's interesting is that so at work, we have a fridge in our back room. We keep all the drinks in there. We keep like sodas, water, you know, all that in there for our clients. So if our clients want to drink, you know, we'll go grab them a drink. Well, I'm bringing my lunch every day now. And like, we used to eat out almost every single day. And so nobody ever brought their lunches. And so now there's like no room in the fridge because like I'm bringing my lunch, and now a couple other girls have started bringing their lunch. And like, so it's interesting because I'm kind of starting to influence them to like eat better, which is great. Like, I'm glad that, you know, I don't ever want anybody to feel like they have to, but like, you know, if they want to start caring about their health too, that's great. But like now we're running into the problem where we have no room in our fridge to put anything. So it's like, it's just funny that like, you know, like we used to eat out every single day almost. I mean, literally every day. It would just be a conversation like, okay, what are we getting for lunch today? What are we ordering? You know? And so like, that's completely changed now. And it's just interesting, you know?
Well, and I think before, you know, which we talk about, Jason and I talk about often, we're always harping on people to track. But the reason that people don't want to track is because you know that you're not making the healthiest decisions for yourself. But if you track that, you would have to acknowledge that reality. And when you don't track, you're just saying like, well, I ate healthy today. Bullshit. You ate out every day. Right? You just conveniently forgot that because you weren't actually engaged with your health. And now that you've made this switch, you're going, oh my God, I didn't realize, really, I didn't acknowledge what was actually happening in my life before surgery. So,
true.
It's those same hard conversations that we have to have with ourselves before we have weight loss surgery about how we treat our body. It's the same way after the fact, because like Katie said, once you get out there far enough and you can eat whatever you want and the temptation is there, you're self-reliant at that point. You don't have anybody to fall back on. You got to have, you have to hold yourself accountable. If you don't have an accountability partner there with you, that you have to make that hard decision for yourself and say, what's more important to me, the right now or the, you know, the later on, or like for me in the morning when I get up and get on the scale, you know, am I going to choose right now that I want this, you know, whatever it is, or am I going to have that conversation where I fight with myself over stepping on the scale in the morning?
Yep. No, it's
totally.
It's my favorite quote, and it's my quote. I'm straight up owning it. I own it. But it's, if we want to see change, we have to choose what we want most over what we want right now.
Yeah, and I've heard you say that, and I love that quote. And another thing that I always think of in my mind is something that Natalie told me, and she said, look, food is never going to go away. She was like, it'll be there tomorrow. You're not missing out on anything. And I'm like, that's so true. That is so true. Like, no, I don't want those cake balls today. I can go buy one from Starbucks anytime I want. Like, I don't need that, you know? So like now I try to think of it in that way.
Yep. We talked about that on a struggle bus, right? The key is to tell yourself not now, but tonight, right? Or not now, but tomorrow. Because you're not saying no, you're just saying, I'm not gonna eat it right now. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But again, that's the power of food, right? That's the negative pull to that. That's our addiction, our dependence, and our tolerance working overtime to keep us where we are at. And never again. Okay. So what has been the biggest physical change that you've noticed post-op?
Oh my God, so many. Like, it's so crazy. I already have so many things. Okay, so I cannot remember exactly what I told you were my challenges from our last video, our last recording. But in case I didn't say it, work is really hard. Like, I love to do hair, but like, I'm just being on my feet, you know, I'm exhausted every day. And just sweating profusely all the time. Like, that was such a problem for me. Like, I don't have that problem anymore. I've only lost 28 pounds and like, I'm not sweating anymore. I literally came home the other night and I like started cleaning the kitchen, doing dishes, cooked dinner. Like, I'm like, how do I have the energy to do this? Like, I used to come home from work and literally go to bed. Like, I would literally go to bed and like we'd order out or something because I didn't feel like doing anything. It's so crazy. But like, the number one has been the sweating. Like, it's amazing. I don't have hair sticking to me anymore like I used to from work. And it's incredible. Like, it really is.
That is one that you listed before, was being on your feet,
Was
and
it?
your feet hurting and sweating. So
Yes.
that's good at it. And it's crazy because I used to be literally like, I was never. It could be 40 degrees outside. I would be in shorts and a polo, didn't own a coat, didn't own a hoodie. Like, I was that guy. And now every day when I get up, it puts, slippers on, throw a sweatshirt on because it's chilly outside, and people looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Like, you used to live with a fan on. And I'm like, oh, look, I don't know, but
not
I don't
anymore.
do that anymore. Man, your boy gets chilly now. Like, that's a thing.
Oh, I used to sweat getting out of the shower. So
me too.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And you're like, what? I rode my Peloton last night for the first time in about a month. And I was barely sweating. And I feel today like I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes last night because that's how out of shape I am. But the fact that I got off the Peloton and I was like, oh, I don't have to change my clothes. Who am I?
What? Yeah.
What? Okay. A whole new world. I feel like Ariel. Yes. So tell us, what has been the biggest mental challenge post-op?
It's a good question. I think just keeping up with everything, like, it's just crazy. I keep thinking, I'm like, how is this all happening so fast? Like, I'm already down a size in pants, and like, I think just like my mind catching up to it, because like when I look in the mirror, I don't really see all of these changes yet. So I think just like trying to like stay on track, like with, okay, like where am I at in this? Like, what's happening? Like, I don't know. I just, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around. It seems really surreal. And like, I think honestly, like I've done really well with like my eating and stuff because I have to, because I tell myself like, look, you're going to throw up if you eat something like that, or something that's bad. So, I haven't had a whole lot of challenges in that respect, but like, as far as just like me personally, like, yeah, it's just so weird that I'm down a size in pants already. And like, it's been a month. So like, I think just keeping up, that's the hardest part.
Well, and I think Jason and I often talk about this, right? We saw ourselves at our highest weight for so many years.
Yeah.
And so much rapid change happens really overnight. Your brain and your eyes have a very hard time processing what it's seeing because it just doesn't make sense. It's never happened before. So you're just, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in and a lot to try to stay on top of. Which I don't think you're prepared for until you kind of
until you go through it.
Yeah. Go through it.
Well, And I was the first person to think that body dysmorphia was bullshit. I was like, well, whatever. I was like, you lose weight, you're going to lose weight, you're going to see the difference. It's just going to be that way. And then I had surgery, and I'm like, I still feel like I'm fat as shit. Like, I feel like I hadn't lost 5 pounds. And even though I'm going to the store, and buying stuff off the rack that I was never able to do before, unless it was a big and tall store, I'm taking the side-by-side pictures and looking at them, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, I look really thin in that picture. But I'll look in the mirror and be like, well, I'm a little bloated today. I feel like I'm way bigger now than I was in that picture that I just took 10 minutes ago. That's literally how your mind will not let you like visualize in a mirror what it just took a damn picture of 5 seconds ago. And you're like, well, I don't know what the difference is between now and then, but I feel, there is no difference.
Yep. So what about emotional? What has been the biggest emotional change that you've noticed post-op?
I'm so much happier. Like, it's and like I said, I'm still at the very beginning of this, but like I just even the girls at work, they're like, you just are glowing. Like, there's just something about you that is so different. And I'm like, I know. It's because life isn't miserable anymore, and like, I know I'm still far from where I want to be, but like, I think the changes in my face is something that I can see, so I think that is what really like keeps me going too. But like, I don't know. I feel like I have purpose. I feel like I have something to look forward to now. And I don't know. I'm so excited for the future. And I know I have more confidence in myself. Like, it's funny, like now that I'm not in pain, like me and my husband can get it on. And like, I actually want to. So like, that's a big thing too, that I'm sure he appreciates. But
I'm sure your husband is thrilled with that. I mean,
So like, it's just nice. Like, it just feels good. Like, it's just, life is fun now,
Yep. So, okay. I'm trying to think about how I want to frame. I'm trying to think about how I want to frame this question, because I don't want it to. I'm just going to ask it, and please know that I'm asking you from a position of love.
Yes.
Did you have purpose in your life before surgery?
I did, but I think, I don't know. I was just, how do I say this? I know I've always known that I have purpose in my life. I've never really felt like I didn't matter, but I guess it's just, I'm not depressed anymore. And so like, I feel excited about finding out more of what my purpose is, if that makes sense. I kind of just felt like I was just living, but like now I feel like I have something to live for, if that makes sense.
It's the difference of going through the motions, and it's the hope that comes out of the transitions that you've seen. And the hope attaches itself to the drive to find the purpose, because before you feel like you have purpose, but you don't know what it is. And
I don't know what it is, and I didn't really know how to find it. And now I feel like I feel like I know that it's out there, and then I can find it, if that makes sense. It's hard to like comprehend that.
And you're just exhausted from going through the motions of life at such a heavy weight. That you just, not only do you not have the strength or the courage or the whatever it is to find that to dig for the purpose, but everything about weight loss surgery changes not only your perspective, but everything about your compositional makeup. Like, everything changes, and as your body starts to change, that energy starts to build and the confidence starts to build, and you're like, not only do you start thinking, well, hey, let's tackle the day. I want to get out there and fucking kill the day. Then you start thinking, what about tomorrow? What about next week? What about down the line? And then somebody comes at you and says, hey, you're looking great. Like you said, you've already made changes at work. People are starting to bring their lunch. So that starts to inspire you as you inspire other people. And that drive just builds, and you start thinking, there's got to be something I can do to channel all this energy. And that's what you start doing. You start finding that purpose, and you find something, and you just light that fire. And that's what I found. Luckily, 2 weeks post-op, I found April, and we started this. So So, I mean, it builds, and we've seen it build in so many patients post-op that that's kind of been the cool thing for me, is starting to see what other people find that lights that fire under them.
Yeah. And like what you said about like, it's more than just getting through the day. Like that is the perfect way to explain it, because it's like, I'm not waking up in the morning just like trying to get through the day. It's like, I'm excited for the day, you know, I'm excited for like what opportunities the day is going to hold. So like that is like a whole different mindset that I've had.
It reminds me of a conversation that I had with Wendy recently. You know, I asked her, why does it feel like some days are easier than others? And she'd said, well, I mean, you wake up every day with some pre-existing conditions. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, I mean, some days work is going to be easy, or a relationship as well, right? Like you're not worrying about these things are not there. And then other days you wake up and you've got a shit ton of stuff that's really going to prevent you, or it's going to require more of your time. So that pre-existing condition really dictates your day. And just listening to this conversation, it really hits home, because before surgery, you had a massive pre-existing condition, which was your addiction or dependence or tolerance on food, and then your physical size. So really all you had the energy for that day was just doing the bare minimum to get through, because you spent so much of your time worrying or thinking about food. And then when that's gone, right, that pre-existing condition is gone. And just like what you said, you go from making it through the day to powering through the day.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the physical weight that is changed. Yes, that's a component to it, but so much other stuff is accessible all of a sudden when the weight's gone. Oh, that's this is
a
like
lot.
It's a lot. Well, and this is like serendipitous or fortuitous. I don't know what if I'm using the right word, but my very next question on my show notes is, what's giving you hope?
Oh my gosh, meant to be. Totally serendipity. Totally serendipity. By the way, it's an amazing movie. I love it. I hate it and I love it, you know?
I do too.
Yeah. Drives me crazy.
Ugh.
What's giving me hope? Oh, so many things. Like, I think like I just feel more capable, you know, like I feel capable of going after things that like I didn't think I could do before, because A, I didn't have the self-confidence, and B, because I just physically like did not have the energy. And so, you know, I feel like now, like, especially with my career, you know, I don't know if I'm going to be doing hair for the rest of my life, but like, at least where I'm at now, like I want to work more, you know, like I don't dread it. I don't dread like, oh my God, I have so many clients today, I'm going to be so exhausted. Like I used to think that all the time. And now I'm like, sweet, like who's on my book today? Can we squeeze in another person? You know? So it's like, I just feel like I have more like opportunities that I can chase after now, because like physically I can do it, and like I feel confident in myself that I can do it. So I don't know, I think a lot of that gives me hope. And just like honestly, just like picturing myself going shopping like in the future, and like being able to shop literally wherever I want, like that gives me hope. Like I'm so excited. Like I have my aesthetic all on my Pinterest board of like what I want to wear. And like for some reason, like I don't know why this is, but when I dream about like my future self as like thin and healthy, like I also like somehow have money in the future and like can just buy whatever I want. I don't really know like how those two correlate, but like I have all these like ideas of like what I want to wear and like yada yada yada. And it's like, well, you know, I don't really know how that's gonna happen, but we'll get there.
You're manifesting it. It's totally fine.
Yeah, manifesting it. Totally.
There you go. There you go.
It's all good. Oh my goodness. All right. So what has been your biggest aha moment post-op?
Okay. Well, there's a couple. So the appetite thing was a huge aha moment for me, because that was something I wasn't expecting. I have not had any problems tolerating anything. I haven't been sick once. I haven't had any dumping. I haven't thrown up, like no nausea, no nothing. So like every single thing that I've eaten, I've been able to tolerate. So that's kind of cool. Like I'm actually really stoked about that, because it opens a lot of doors for me as far as like trying new things and recipes, things like that. And then I think my other aha moment is probably kind of like what we discussed before about like how much our world revolves around food and like how much of my life revolved around food, and you think about I was thinking about my liquid diet like not too long ago because that's when we last recorded and how hard that was for me. And it would still be hard for me now, but like the fact that I ate Krispy Kreme and Chinese food and whatever it was I had at my last meal, I was eating that stuff pretty much every day, for so long. And so like that just like made my liquid diet so much worse. And now I feel like things would just be so different because I'm learning, how to eat to live instead of living to eat,
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. What is stressing you out at the moment? Is there anything that's stressing you out or?
Yes, well, kind of. So I'm getting used to this, but like thinking about having to do this like all the time in the future is just a lot to wrap my mind around. But like meal planning, meal prepping, like knowing that I constantly have to have a plan for everything. And like that's kind of stressful to me because like on my days off, like that's when I go and run errands, and I'll be out for, hours. And so like now before I go out, I have to think, okay, I need my cooler. I need an ice pack. I need a drink. I need a protein shake. I need a couple small meals. Like, like I have to have everything planned because I refuse to be stuck and make a bad choice. And so like, I'm trying to like make that just a way of life now instead of thinking of it like, oh, it's something I have to do. Like, no, like you need to do it. Like failure to plan is planning to fail. So like, I keep telling myself that too.
Yes. Yes. And I think at first it feels overwhelming because you're also dealing with all of these other changes.
Yeah.
But I think what Jason and I have both found is that we always have go-to products in our home that if we know like, oh, I got to run out quick, I'm going to be gone a couple hours, I'm grabbing a shake, a bar, and this, and boom, right? And pretty soon that is just going to become so routine that it's not going to feel like it's like it's something to stress. But I can absolutely see where that would be like
change.
This is strange. This is well, and especially before. And I think what you don't realize is that before surgery, you were stressing about food all the time because you were thinking about what's my next meal or what do I really want? What am I craving? Right. So now you've just swapped that for now I have to think about different foods in different ways, but you're still right. You're still thinking about it. Just it's just
well, and luckily there's a lot of things now that they sell that are easy go to, like little protein packs and the things like that you can grab, and little things you can put together that are a lot easier now than it was before. So at least that and eventually it will get to something where it's just second nature for you to do versus something that you feel like it's something that you have to just another task that you have to do before you leave.
So, I mean, you kind of already told us like what you're most excited for really in the future, but how do you think your life is going to continue to change the further you move away from your surgery?
Gosh, I feel like I mean, I know I'm going to have restriction, but like getting farther out kind of scares me, honestly, because I'm going to be able to indulge more. I'm going to be able to like eat more and not get sick and not have those consequences. So like that is scary for me. I don't, and I know as soon as I start introducing some things, just trying it out, I'll just have a little bite, like that's when like my taste buds are like, oh yeah, we remember that. Like we like that. So I think like my goal is to really just like try and continuing to make or find alternatives instead. Like I've got one of my best friends is getting married this year. So, and she lives in Florida. So I've got her wedding and I've got her bachelorette party, which is going to be in Charleston. So I'm traveling like a little bit this year, and we've got the retreat coming up in November. So I think like all those things are happening before my 1 year. And so obviously the retreat is going to be bariatric friendly, but like these other things, I'm going to have to figure out like, okay, do I need to pack my own food? Like what's happening here? If I have to fly, what can I take? Like, and so I think just like piecing all that together, that is another stressful thing for me too. It's just like trying to figure out how to navigate normal life, you know, around this. So
yeah, yes. Do you how do you think you're going to tackle that? Have you given any thought to that yet, or are you just gonna are you just gonna approach it, you know, kind of cross that bridge when you come to it?
I'm sure I'm going to try to plan something, you know,
Yeah.
because that's just, now I try to have a plan. Like I never used to be like that. I used to be a fly by the seat of my pants type of person. But that is something that has changed about me, is I try to have a plan now, because I just feel like that quote in my head, I will never stop saying it. Like plan. You have to plan. Failure to plan is planning to fail. Like you have to have a plan. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to plan on packing bars and shakes, or like bars and protein powder, just so that way I have something that like I can eat if we're out and about or whatever. But I think by that point, you know, I think we're going to be eating out a lot, so I'll be able to modify things. Or like if we're eating at home and we have pasta, I can just like eat the meat and the sauce and not eat the noodles, you know? So like, I'm trying to figure out in my head, like, okay, how can I make this like very friendly, you know?
Yep.
So I'm definitely going to think about it before the trip. And I'm probably going to have to talk to the girls who are planning some of the events and be like, hi, okay, like, just so you know, this is what I'm going through, and totally do not want to be like over the top needy, but like, I just want to check and see if blah, 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 you know? So I may just have to do that.
But the fact that you're already thinking, I mean, you said like 5 things, right? When you're just like, oh, I don't know. You rambled off like 5 really like kick-ass things that you're already thinking about. And really what that hopefully tells you is that you are very much on the path to long-term bariatric success, right? Because if you were going to go back to your old ways, you would just say, well, I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to be what it's going to be. And you even said it. You're like, no, one of the biggest things that's changed is that now I plan. Now I like think in advance about these things. Because before, that was your old MO. That was your old identity. Like, oh, none of it matters. Like, it's going to be what it's going to be. And that did not serve you. So you're already making these huge shifts in how you think and how you're approaching your life and how you're approaching your health. That is a complete opposite of what you did before surgery.
Yeah, totally.
So, you know, and then the other thing too, which again, I think is so important, we do kind of have to learn to advocate for ourselves. And that means reaching out to our friends. That means asking for accommodations at restaurants. Like all of these things are things that we can do to, you know, to make sure that we find success, and you're doing that. So, I mean, good job. I mean,
thank you. I think something that's really like, this is kind of hard, but like, I have a client who she had bariatric surgery a couple years ago, and before my surgery, you know, she would sit in my chair and just talk about how she gained all her weight back and like blah, 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 telling me that I'll never be able to eat the same, and that, you know, I won't be able to tolerate certain things and it'll ruin my diet forever. And but like, she was very negative about it. And it just put a really bad taste in my mouth. And I was kind of upset with her. And like, I think she could tell, like, I literally had to walk away from doing her hair to go to the back and just like take a breath and be like, okay, she is dealing with a lot right now. She has a lot of things going on in her personal life, and she has not made herself a priority. And that is why she gained her weight back. And so like, still to this day, like I'm now back from my surgery. She was like, oh my gosh, you look great, you know, and then still proceeded to talk about all of her excuses. And then she finally, and I told her, I said, you have to make yourself a priority. You know that, right? I said, this is why you're having problems, is because you have not made your health a priority. She was like, I know. She was like, these are my excuses. Just let me have my excuses. I said, okay, great. We can agree that like you have your excuses. And like, if we can agree that like you are making excuses, then that's all I care about, you know?
As long as you own up to it, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and the fact that she owned up to it, just like, oh, that was like so helpful. I needed to hear that for my sanity.
I mean, so many people hanging on the surgery, the surgeon, the whatever else, hanging on outside circumstances instead of just owning up and being like, hey, I didn't take the shit seriously. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I failed to put the work in, so I failed to get the results, and that's my bad. Everybody wants to put it on everything and be like,
and
well,
like,
you're not going to succeed because I didn't succeed. Well, bullshit, because I
yeah,
can't.
and like that's another thing that's just been like such a motivator for me too, is because like seeing her and being like, okay, she did not put herself first. She chose, you know, to live this certain way, and like, yes, she does have some family things going on, but like she also could ask for help and she could handle things a little bit differently. And so like knowing that like she didn't put herself first and this is what happened, like now I'm learning like, no, I have to make this a priority. Like I have to do this for myself, you know?
Yeah. Well, and
So,
you know, to hear her pass the buck like that is so frustrating, right? Because it's just like, no, the surgery worked. You have a tool. You're not using your tool in the way that it's been designed, right? I mean, it's like, well, no shit, you're not going to build a house with a hammer if you're using it like a garden hose.
I know. And like I asked her, I said, how are your portion sizes? Like, are they still small? And she said, yeah, they're still small. She was like, but like, I just don't eat well. And I'm like, oh, okay, well.
Well, we had 9 people at my office have all been through the surgery before I went through the surgery. 8 of them were successful. 1 of them was not. And one of the successful people was the unsuccessful person's best friend. So they went through it together. They came through it together. One of them still ate McDonald's every day, and the other one did not. One of them was successful. One of them lost like 10 pounds, completely 10 pounds, and then gained a bunch of weight on top of the 10 pounds that she lost. Oh, yeah. So I'm like, I would murder everyone if I went through what I went through and only lost. Yeah, like absolutely not. Because she came out of the surgery and like maybe the first 2 weeks and was good. And then after that, it was like bags of McDonald's start coming into the office. And it was just, but I see the same stuff on Facebook too. In the support groups on Facebook, this chick was like, well, I still eat, an egg McMuffin, or I still eat a sausage biscuit, and it just takes me a lot longer to eat it. And I'm like, no,
but you're still eating
how that works.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. She clearly has some battles that she did not face before surgery. And that makes me sad for her.
Struggle. Everybody's gonna make mistakes. Like I don't eat 100% all the time like I'm supposed to. Everybody has a plan.
Well, it's about balance, right. Like you're not living to diet for the rest of your life. Like, yes, we're gonna go through maybe a year or 2 of like really hard restriction on our diets, because that's what we have to do. And then you have to figure out how to modify that to live a happy life. Like, and like people just, I feel like the whole balance thing is just goes out the window because people don't really know what that is,
Well, and I think people go into bariatric surgery thinking that the surgery itself is the magic bullet, right?
It's going to fix everything.
And it's not, right? The surgery is what gives you the tool to build your house, but it's all of that work that happens outside of surgery where you find success. And if you're just going to continue, if you don't recognize that the life that you were living before was the reason that you had excess weight, and you just continue to live that old life, then your tool is absolutely a moot point. You did it for nothing.
Right.
So, right. I mean, it's, and it's hard to explain to people who have not quite had it yet or haven't quite been living through it, which is why we have these conversations, right? So that people can go into their procedure armed with the information that they're going to need to find success after surgery. Because as the 3 of us know, this is not easy.
And I remember talking about it too. Like luckily I had my 3-month follow-up appointment right about coincided with the time that I was getting to just released to regular food. Mm-hmm. And I went in her office and I was like, I'm scared to death. Like, I don't know what the hell's about to happen to me. Like when it's not just simply laid out like it is in our little bariatric Bible that we get sent home with, I'm like, look, man, I was like, your paper runs out. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do now? And she was like, she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, dude, you just can't leave me in my kitchen to say we'll fix whatever, because I'm gonna fix whatever, and it's not gonna go well for me. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, you have to take what the work you put into the first 3 months, and you have to kind of carry that on. Like, what do you like? What do you do? And I'm like, I like bad things. Like, no, don't tell me that. Like, I don't, I like burgers. I like pizza. I like steak. like, look at me. I like everything. That's why I look like I do.
Oh
Right?
gosh.
It's this that gets us through, and it's the community,
Yeah.
and it's right. It's learning that food is not fun, learning that food is not entertainment, learning that food
Yeah.
is nutrition, and the fun and the entertainment comes with all of the other things that we now have this ability to do, right? The capacity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. All right, friend. Well, did we leave anything unsaid? Is there any parting bits of wisdom or reflection that you want to share with the world?
Oh my gosh. I guess, okay, I'm going to say this because the beginning of this, I was in the hardest part of the surgery. I was in the liquid diet, and that was actual hell for me. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? Like, I questioned everything. And like, I remember thinking after the fact, I literally cried after I got off of our recording after that, because I just was like, I needed support. Like, I just needed to talk to people who like understood. And like, I was so emotional because I was like, okay, I'm excited again, you know? And like, I was just so depressed for that whole week that I had to do liquids. So all I want to say is that literally, like, it is worth it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I know it's hard. I know it's so hard, and it's going to test every ounce of strength that you have, but like, do not give up on your dreams. Anything worth fighting for is worth having. And it's so worth it. Just keep pushing. Like, that's all I have to say.
And popsicles really do help.
Yeah, popsicles are a game changer.
I didn't believe it. I was like, what the hell's a popsicle gonna do? Like, you're gonna
You
bite it, it's
will
gonna
learn
melt,
to
it's gonna be
love
gone.
popsicles.
Dude, I'm telling you, popsicles may as well have been a 3-course meal for me, because I ate one and I was like, oh, I'm not even hungry anymore. Like,
8
how
to
does
10 a
that
day.
work?
Yep.
You know, I love it how Katie's like, just stay the course, it's be so worth it. And Jason's like, oh, popsicles too. Don't forget popsicles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's equally as important.
Yes.
Oh my
Like,
God.
yeah, it's fine.
Oh. Katie, we cannot thank you enough for being so open and honest and candid about your experience. I know that just this entire lengthy conversation is going to inspire and uplift and give people hope. I mean, I think that is like the word of our time together. It's just hope, right? Weight loss surgery, bariatric surgery is about finding our hope again. And I think you really beautifully articulated what that means for people. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This has been amazing. I'm just so excited to be a part of the podcast, and I'm just so grateful that you guys chose me to do your first like before and after with. Like, that's so cool. I'm honored, and thank you for having me.
I think I would love to kind of check in with you every few months just to kind of see how it's going, right? Just to ask the same questions and just give you a chance to reflect, because I think we all get caught up in our lives. Just, our lives are busy, and sooner rather than later, it's just going to feel normal. But it's important to keep this at the forefront, because I think that's how we slip when our bariatric recovery is not at the front of our lives, right? If it starts moving to the background, that's where we kind of fall back into our old ways. So, we would love the opportunity to just kind of continue to check in with you as you move through your recovery and as you move through your life, because there's going to be nuggets of information and more rays of hope that I think are going to come out of those conversations. Yeah. So if you're down,
I love that.
We're down.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yes. Oh my goodness. So if you do not follow Katie, you absolutely should. She's on Instagram at katie.vsg. She is just as hilarious and raw as she is right now with us. So her stories are fire, and she is exactly who she says she is. So definitely give her a follow there. And if you guys love what you're seeing on East to West, you can follow us on Instagram at East to West. You can join our private Facebook group just at East to West WLS. You can also become a patron of East to West WLS. And all that means is that you want to support us keeping the support around for free for everybody to enjoy. So if you would like information on that, you can message us. You can head to our website, east2westwls.com. You can, just let us know that you are excited to support, and we will be there to show you how you can do that. Jason, did I miss anything? You want to take us out, my friend?
I don't think you missed anything. Katie, thank you again for joining us. Your just the transformation so far has been remarkable. Your journey's been fantastic. You have been amazing to watch go through the motions, and it's been, yeah, I can't wait to see where you take it. I know that you're going to do amazing things because you've got the drive, you've got the tenacity, you're going to make it happen. So I can't wait to see where that takes you. For everybody else that supports East to West, we appreciate it. We cannot thank you enough. We're able to do what we do for the community because the community supports us. And supporting you guys helps us in our recovery as well. That's been one of the most amazing things April and I have been able to do. Talking to you guys through Messenger, talking to you guys on video, really, really just hits home with us and keeps our why in the forefront just as much as everybody else. So we can't thank you enough for that. We appreciate that very much. And just remember, at the end of the day, you've got this, we've got you, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See you
Bye-bye.
soon.